All right, governmentphotographer.com. That's the landing page that we set up recently, finally, after years of doing this work. Shooting for local government, for public agencies, is a very interesting and very specific niche of photography that I, sort of fell into. It started out at the time that I was working for the Port of San Diego. Gosh, I don't know how many years ago this was. I was that was my day job, is doing like graphic design for the port, and then at night I was directing underground hip hop music videos and going to underground hip hop shows and photographing those. And uh, one thing led to another, and in my day job at the port, I ended up being tasked with going out and shooting some stuff for like the port website and brochures. I remember like the very first thing that I shot was the port pavilion pier. They just installed these new benches and like these red umbrellas, and it was just like a little, like a public space thing that we wanted to promote. And I was asked to go and snap some photos, and I went and did it with my old little digital Rebel, little $300 camera. And what I came back with really excited everybody. I remember my friend, my boss at that time, actually Justin, and looked at it and said, "You made the port pavilion look like Club Med." So that kind of picked up, and it picked up enough steam that my director at that time, Jenny of JPW, shout out, saw that I was really coming alive going out there and shooting rather than sitting behind a computer screen doing mediocre graphic design work. To my opinion, people were happy, but yeah. So anyway, I started getting sent out more often to take photos, and shooting for local government, shooting for the port specifically, was where I really got to put in like my 10,000 hours. Every day was something completely different. One day they needed headshots. Another day there was a ribbon cutting. Another day we needed some product photos. So like every day was wildly different. And I got to bring sort of my creative, artsy, underground eye to a government kind of setting. So I think the kind of intersection of those two things made for some very interesting imagery. And Jenny was basically able to argue that my position should be a full-time position. We had a photographer who'd been with the agency, I think, for like 30 years prior to that. Dale was, she did so much amazing work there. And after she retired, they weren't really going to have another photographer. Like, who has an in-house photographer, especially in a government agency? But the stuff that I was turning in was exciting a lot of different folks in different departments. And I experienced right away just the elevating joy of bringing imagery seen from like this new angle for a team, like in real estate, for example, who'd been working on a project for, who knows, like 7 years, 10 years. And now the project is finally open to the public and people are enjoying it. It's, a new high rise in downtown or a public park or something. And then having a new eye, an artist's eye, go in there and capture it from these new angles. Really, I watched like the joy that it brought to people's faces. And I remember at that time, it was pretty funny. My brother also worked at the port at that time. And he was like, he said to me, he's like, "You're doing so well that people are congratulating me," like him, my brother. So, anyway, I like, it's, I think a lot of my work as a photographer is, I wrote here, the intersection of institutional power and individuals and how they navigate within those things. And I would also add in there the layer of counterculture and artists sort of underground, which is of course like a lot of the world that I run in. But, after I left the port, I ended up working for a bunch of different government agencies with various freelance gigs. I work quite a bit with Axiom of Purpose these days. And I've worked like directly with a bunch of like smaller agencies, like City of San Marcos, like Public Works, a bunch of different law enforcement agencies throughout California. And, I love public servants. They're just, appreciate what public servants do. I love telling the story of the folks that you don't see. Like I'm at a public park and I'm getting in some fresh air, and it's I just feel such a swell of appreciation for the folks that are out there, like keeping the park clean and taking care of the plants, and in every city I go and every exit, every driveway, it's something I immediately look at, and I feel so much appreciation for these folks, and I love telling their stories. I always share with people that after years of working in government, some of the bureaucratic things that people get frustrated by, and some of the more negative Nancy's think is like some conspiracy. Sometimes it is. There's definitely bad actors in the world, don't get me wrong. But I can tell you, in my years of photographing public servants, it has been my experience that most of the time, the overwhelming majority, these are just nerds, like geeks, nerds and geeks that are trying to make it a better place. They're trying to make things better. They're trying to make things fair. And sometimes that bureaucracy gets a little convoluted as a result of that. But it's mostly very well-meaning people with very good intentions. And I love capturing those kind of stories and showing you those other angles, and never get tired of it. My happy place is knowing that I have like a government gig somewhere, and I get to go on a little road trip and go see a new town, go spend some time in like San Luis Obispo, shot a lot for the county there, and Zone 7 water district in Northern California. You get to see how like water treatment facilities work, where our trash goes. Like I never, it's definitely a pretty cool niche to be in. So yeah, I'm excited. If you're interested in working with me, if you've got anyone in your networks who work in various government agencies around the country, I'm super into it. I love traveling. I love seeing new places. I love learning about what different public service geeks are up to and telling that story. So yeah, pop over to governmentphotographer.com and take a look at my work and shoot us a message.